General Hospital spoilers tease that Sasha can no longer deceive herself. After months of trying to fit into a new life, attempting to believe she could learn to love Jason. Those efforts now seem like desperate, exhausting attempts. Sasha had held on to the fragile hope that love would come through shared moments, fighting loss, danger, and loneliness together. But the more she tried, the more she felt lost and isolated, even within the warm embrace that Jason offered. Love can't be forced. And over time, Sasha realizes the haunting truth that the person who will always remain in her heart is Michael. The Michael who once broke her heart but was also the only one to ever light up her world. Sasha understands the harsh reality that, no matter how wonderful Jason is, no matter how patient he is, her heart can never belong to him. That feeling cannot be created through gratitude or constrained by safety. It's an instinctive, uncontrollable emotion, and Sasha knows she can no longer pretend. Every time Jason looks at her, his gaze is gentle, expectant, trusting, but those very looks make Sasha feel suffocated. Every time Jason touches her hand, every time he speaks comforting words, she feels like she's betraying him and herself. She can't keep lying, can't trap Jason in a relationship without a future just to fill her own emptiness. And the longer it goes on, Sasha knows she will only make things worse, hurting Jason more deeply. Then, the unavoidable moment arrives. On a gloomy afternoon, when Port Charles seems to be suffocating in the weight of unformed upheaval, Sasha decides it's time to end it all. She will tell the truth. No matter how much it will crush everything Jason had hoped for. Sasha will confess, with a trembling but resolute voice, that she has never loved Jason. That what she felt for him was gratitude, admiration, and attachment due to circumstances, but never love. And, most painfully, she will have to admit that her heart still belongs to Michael. Despite all the times her mind has begged her to move on. The confession will cut through the air like a cold blade, leaving a suffocating silence between two people who once sought salvation in each other. Jason, who has always silently stood by her, who placed all his trust and hope in the possibility of a fresh start, will stand there, silent, enduring each word as if it were an unavoidable strike. There will be no reproach, no questions of why. Only silence, and Jason's gaze, slowly filled with pain and undisguised disappointment. For Jason, Sasha is not just a girl he tried to protect. She was the last glimmer of light in a world he had grown too familiar with. Sasha will leave, carrying with her all the torment and shattered dreams she couldn't salvage. Each step she takes will drive deeper into Jason's heart, and the distance growing between them will serve as a cruel reminder that once again, he has lost the one he loved and could do nothing to keep. A new, crazy story is beginning to form from the fragments of hope. A heartbreaking truth is revealed, that sometimes love alone isn't enough to keep someone close. And Port Charles, which has witnessed countless love tragedies, will witness yet another, the quiet collapse of a heart that longed to heal. Jason, in the darkness of an empty room, will have to learn to stand up again, but the wounds Sasha leaves will not easily heal. And Sasha, carrying the shadow of Michael, will have to face a new loneliness, the price of the brutal honesty she chose. A new storm is brewing over Port Charles, and this time, no one will be able to escape the consequences it brings. Michael's return is like a slow earthquake, gradually shaking Port Charles. Quiet, without announcement, but just his presence sends the fragile balance of the town into disarray. And in Sasha's heart, his return feels like a tsunami, sweeping away all the barriers she tried to build to protect herself from the pain. Michael no longer returns as the weak boy who was once easily hurt by conflict and loss. Now he carries a new energy, stronger, sharper, with determination burning in every glance, every word. He has gone through his own battles, his own journeys, and now he returns to reclaim everything that was once his, family, children, and Sasha's heart. From the moment their eyes meet, an invisible bond is immediately restored, despite all the wounds, mistakes, and painful memories. They don't need lengthy explanations. In that gaze, in that breath, they both know. The love never disappeared. It has merely been dormant, waiting to reignite more fiercely than ever. A new haunting story begins. No more hesitation, no more flimsy walls of defense. Sasha and Michael, once separated by pride, pain, and circumstance, can no longer resist the undeniable pull between them. They become a new couple, bonded not only by their past but by their intense desire for an unfinished future. But the explosion of this love story doesn't just stop at personal feelings. Michael and Sasha's union is dragging a series of consequences far beyond their control. Because for Michael, love has never been separate from power and responsibility. He doesn't just want Sasha. He wants to rebuild an empire, to reclaim everything he lost, and Sasha will be the queen by his side, the symbol of the rebirth he dreams of. This crazy story is truly beginning to explode. The combination of Michael, the natural heir to the Corinthos family power, and Sasha, who has overcome death, betrayal, and tragedy to mature, is a force to be reckoned with. Old enemies are waking up. Former allies are uncertainly reconsidering their loyalty. And Port Charles, a city always struggling between power factions, must now prepare for an entirely new game, where even the strongest can be overthrown. Michael, with his new coldness, begins to calculate every move. He is no longer the boy easily swayed by emotions. Now, he is a warrior. A potential leader, ready to sacrifice to protect what he loves. And Sasha, by his side, is no longer the fragile girl of the past. She is his companion, the one who drives the plans. The indispensable light in Michael's vision of the future. But this explosion also brings a new shock to those around them. Jason, who once silently harbored hope for a future with Sasha, will be forced to face the painful truth. The woman he loved has now found her heart with someone else. Carly, who once protected Michael with all her heart, will now have to learn to accept that her son is no longer the vulnerable child, but a dangerous man with unpredictable ambitions. This new story is not just a romance. It is a tsunami swirling beneath Port Charles's surface. A warning that what is coming will not just be broken hearts, but life and death battles to gain control of the city. To control the destinies of those who once thought they had everything in their hands. Michael and Sasha, two survivors of the greatest losses, now stand on the same side. And Port Charles will have to prepare for what's to come, a new powerful couple, a new threat, and a bloody future that no one can stop. The loss of custody of Wiley and Amelia has left a deep wound in Michael's heart, a constant, aching pain that gnaws at him every day. Willow, in a decision Michael cannot forgive, gave guardianship to Drew, forcing Michael to stand on the sidelines and watch from afar as two children he once swore to protect with his life slip away. For Michael, this is not just a family matter. It is a complete denial of all the efforts and sacrifices he made to build a home. Deep inside Michael, a fire of anger and offense begins to burn. At first, Michael drowns in doubt and despair, questioning where he went wrong, what he lacked. But the more he thinks, the more he realizes that this is not the time to wallow in self-pity or sorrow. This is the time to act. A new Michael is forming, colder, more strategic, ready to adjust his entire approach to reclaim what's his. In this period of turmoil, Sasha becomes an unexpected source of strength that Michael never saw coming. She is not just a former companion but the only one who understands the hidden corners of Michael's heart without him needing to speak. Sasha's own deep wounds, the losses that once drained her, now serve as a strange bridge between her and Michael, two people rejected by the world, two souls once broken now finding empathy in each other. Day by day, their quiet conversations deepen this invisible bond. Sasha doesn't try to comfort Michael with empty words. She doesn't tell him to let go or accept his fate. Instead, she stands by him, silently but firmly, so that Michael knows he's not alone. And it is this steadfast presence that makes Michael begin to see Sasha in a new light, not just an old friend, not just a lost lover, but a true partner in his journey to reclaim his life. From there, a subtle but powerful transformation begins to take place. Michael is no longer the impulsive boy reacting based on emotion. He becomes more calculated, knowing how to plan for the long term, how to wait for the right moment and strike at the opponent's weaknesses. He knows Drew is not a simple opponent. And Willow, even though she still loves him, has now become part of a system he must surpass if he wants to regain his children. New ideas start to form. Michael decides he won't confront Drew and Willow directly, as doing so would only lose him support in the eyes of Port Charles. Instead, he will slowly peel away Drew's mask, exposing the flaws, weaknesses, and hidden ambitions Drew doesn't want anyone to see. At the same time, Michael quietly builds a new image for himself, a devoted father, a sharp businessman. A pillar that the entire city must respect. Sasha, with her sharp insight and experience in overcoming personal crises, becomes Michael's indispensable strategist. She helps him predict his opponent's reactions, analyze strengths and weaknesses in social relationships, and most importantly, she provides him with new motivation. Not just to fight for personal gain, but for a sustainable future for the children he loves. In the midst of secret meetings, plans drawn in the dark, and unspoken understanding between them, the feelings between Michael and Sasha begin to rekindle, not the impulsive flame of the past, but a mature, deep connection, forged through loss and perseverance. They no longer love each other for what they once had, but for what they are now building together. A new change is erupting, fierce and irreversible. Michael and Sasha, two souls who once fell into the abyss, are now standing up, not just to reclaim their children but to take back the life they deserve. Every step they take is carefully calculated. Every move aimed directly at the ultimate goal, to rebuild their family, revive their love, and restore the order that was once taken from them. New calculations are escalating faster than ever. Michael is no longer just an heir to the Corinthos legacy. He is becoming a true leader, strong, decisive, and dangerous to anyone who dares stand in his way. And when the storm Michael and Sasha are nurturing explodes, Port Charles will never be the same again. A new chapter is about to unfold, and this time, it will be written with wisdom, determination, and a love that nothing can break. The love Sasha has for Michael grows stronger each day, a fierce emotion that even she cannot control. After all the breakdowns, all the moments of despair where she thought she could not stand up again, Sasha now finds in Michael not only a piece of old memories, but a new future. A future where she is no longer a victim of circumstance, no longer has to struggle alone, but a place where she can fight alongside the person she loves with everything she has. That love, steadfast and intense, is becoming one of the strongest motivations for Sasha to move forward. And as that love gradually bursts into an uncontrollable flame, a new, crazy assurance is also forming, the assurance that no matter what happens, no matter the losses or dangers awaiting them, Sasha will never give up Michael again. She will stand by him. Not only as a lover, but as a teammate, a comrade in the battle to reclaim everything they deserve. But that love, like a double-edged sword, also opens up a series of new obsessions. For the deeper the love, the greater the fear of losing it. Sasha begins to be haunted by the thought of losing Michael once more, taken away by unseen forces, torn apart by power games, or worse, hurt by the betrayal of those they once trusted. This obsession gnaws at Sasha's mind, making her live in a constant state of heightened alertness. Always ready to fight to protect the love that has just been rekindled. It is the eruption of this love, the flame that burns brightly, that is pushing everything to a new climax, where relationships, alliances, and even Port Charles itself will never be the same again. As Sasha and Michael begin to take action, the world around them immediately starts to change, quickly, chaotically, and more dangerously than ever. Jason, with his innate protective instincts, is still there, silently watching, quietly shielding Sasha as he had always done, even though his heart breaks to see her belong to another. Jason understands that love is not always reciprocated. And sometimes, loving someone means protecting them, even when it breaks your heart in the process. Despite the pain, Jason decides to stand by Sasha, to be her silent protector. Willing to face any danger just to ensure she can live fully with her choice. But no one can prevent the great damages that are slowly approaching. As Michael and Sasha enter the fight to regain custody of Wiley and Amelia, as they begin to challenge the forces that secretly manipulate Port Charles. They are not only facing legal battles or political schemes. They are fanning the long-simmering conflicts, old grudges, suppressed hatred, and unresolved calculations. Old alliances begin to fracture. Those who were once loyal now waver. Dark secrets that were thought to be buried are now being dragged into the light. And in the midst of this chaos, Michael and Sasha, no matter how resilient they are, cannot avoid being caught in the incalculable damages. Every step they take is a new battle. Every small victory comes at the cost of greater losses. Jason, though trying his best, cannot save them from it all. The only thing he can do is one thing, to be there. Always ready to shield Sasha from any danger aimed at her, always willing to sacrifice without seeking recognition. But even Jason understands that the storm Michael and Sasha are stirring cannot be stopped easily. It has spiraled out of control. And the changes it brings will reshape Port Charles, once and for all. Everything is changing, faster, more chaotically, and more dangerously than ever. Love, hatred, betrayal, and sacrifice, all intertwining, creating an inextricable web of fate. And at the center of the storm, Michael and Sasha, hand in hand, their eyes burning with determination, will not back down. Because they know, this time, it's all or nothing. Sasha, with all the sincerity in her heart, has chosen to bet on Michael once again. The love she has for him is not a superficial feeling. Nor is it one that can be easily blown away by the winds of the times. It is a love that has been tested through tragedy, loss, and pain that few could endure. That love burns fiercely in Sasha's heart, strong enough for her to disregard doubts, to ignore the warnings from those around her, and throw herself into Michael's arms as if it were the only place she still trusts in this world. But just as Sasha thought she had found a safe haven, a new, dark obsession, vague and lurking, began to rise, a ghost she could not ignore, Willow. Willow, once an ally, once part of the family that Sasha had longed to belong to, had now changed. The accumulated wounds, the subtle betrayals, and the uncontrollable despair had transformed Willow from a gentle woman into a dangerous, silent force, destructive yet quiet. Willow had lost so much, love, power, and control over her children. And now, she had no intention of losing anything more, especially not her place in the hearts of Wiley and Amelia, and deeper still, in Michael's heart. Willow's dark actions began to rise from the shadows. Invisible but sharp rumors spread throughout Port Charles like a contagious disease, tarnishing Sasha's image in the eyes of the public. In the eyes of Michael's allies. No one could point to clear evidence, no one could accuse Willow, but the doubts, the insecurity, the scrutinizing looks. The whispers behind her back started to surround Sasha more and more tightly. Willow knew that there was no need for a direct attack. She only needed to sow seeds of doubt in Michael's heart. Bit by bit, until Michael himself began to wonder if choosing Sasha was a mistake. And while Sasha was busy fighting to hold on to her love, Willow, in the darkness, silently pulled every string, snapping each fragile connection, each small hope that Sasha tried to build. A new seriousness was escalating. It was no longer just about love. The story was now about power, about possession. About who would shape the future of a new generation in Port Charles. And in that whirlwind of chaos, the love triangle between Michael, Sasha, and Willow began to take clearer shape than ever, a triangle filled with tears, betrayal, and broken illusions. Sasha, amidst desperate attempts to keep Michael, began to feel herself being pushed into a maze with no way out. She saw the change in Michael's eyes, brief moments, flashes of doubt that appeared and disappeared. She felt the invisible wall slowly rising between them, built by whispers, by schemes she couldn't stop. Jason, still silently protecting Sasha from afar, began to realize that this battle was even more brutal than he had imagined. He saw Willow's manipulative hand clearly. But Jason also understood that there are some battles he could not win for Sasha. She had to find her own way, to choose between fighting to the end or accepting the harsh truth that sometimes love cannot overcome greed and the fear of loss. The damages began to accumulate. Not just emotional losses. There were cracks in relationships, the destruction of trust, and the spreading doubt like poison throughout every corner of Port Charles. And with every wrong step, with every hasty decision made for love, Sasha was getting closer to the brink of losing everything. Love was gradually turning into an obsession. An obsession that leads to impulsive actions, to wrong choices. Sasha might have to face the greatest tragedy of her life, losing Michael, losing herself in the process of trying to hold on to something that no longer belongs to her. The emotional storm. The inner conflicts, the covert confrontations between Sasha and Willow were slowly reshaping the landscape in Port Charles. A new chapter, darker, fiercer, more desperate, was being written. And this time, no one was certain who would stand firm until the end.